There was a particular morning when I was 70, alone in my kitchen, sipping tea and feeling a quiet ache in my heart. It wasn't about sadness exactly, but a restlessness, like I had so much unexpressed color, music, or movement trapped inside me. Have you ever felt that longing, as if part of your spirit wanted to sing, paint, or dance, but you kept brushing it off, believing your chance had passed? I used to tell myself, I'm too old, too clumsy, too late to try something new. But that day, I wondered if I was missing out on a joy I'd never explored. So I decided, somewhat timidly, to take a small step toward creativity. Over the next 15 minutes, I'll share 5 steps that transformed me from someone convinced they had no artistic bone, into a person who looks forward to painting every Sunday morning. If you've ever yearned to discover a hidden talent or reignite a faded passion, keep listening. Because sometimes, the doors of creativity open widest in our later years, when we finally have the time and the courage to embrace them. Close your eyes and whisper, it's never too late to create. Let that promise settle in your heart as we begin this journey. Why delve into art, music, or crafting after retirement? Research shows that older adults who engage in creative pursuits, be it painting, knitting, dancing, or music, often experience reduced stress and loneliness, alongside heightened mental agility and life satisfaction. It's not about producing a masterpiece for a museum, it's about letting your hands, voice, or body express a piece of your soul. Also, creativity fosters community. Imagine crocheting alongside neighbors at a local center, exchanging yarn tips and life stories. Or joining an online seniors choir that rehearses over video calls, forging friendships across states or even countries. At any age, we yearn for purpose, fun, and connection. Art offers all three in a gentle, joyful package. If you've ever thought, but I can't draw a straight line, or I have 2 left feet for dancing, trust me, creativity is less about raw talent and more about heartfelt expression. Keep that in mind as we step forward. There's truly no expiration date on artistic discovery. The first step is all about giving yourself permission to play the field of artistic possibilities without committing to any single one immediately. In childhood, we dabble, one day drawing with crayons, the next banging on toy drums, yet as adults, we often fear looking silly or incompetent. So here's the approach: treat creativity like a buffet. Pick small, bite-sized samples, maybe a half-hour watercolor tutorial on YouTube, or a beginner's crochet kit from the craft store, or a free dance lesson at your local senior center. Remember that old daydream you had about learning guitar? Why not rent or borrow an instrument for a week to see how it feels? Or perhaps singing in a church choir piqued your curiosity decades ago. Call to find out if they welcome new seniors. The point isn't immediate mastery, it's letting curiosity guide you. If a particular art form doesn't resonate, no harm done, there's always another on the buffet table. This tasting phase can be delightfully freeing because you let go of the need to be perfect. Take a moment right now. Think of one art form you've always found intriguing. Painting? Piano? Dancing? If your heart quietly answers, yes, that one, then consider a single, small experiment, like a short, beginner-friendly class or an online tutorial. Let yourself explore, unburdened by the myth that you must excel right away. Once you feel a spark for a certain art or craft, it's time to gather simple, beginner-friendly tools and a supportive environment. Perhaps your local library hosts free craft meetups for seniors. Or maybe your granddaughter would love to teach you the basics of digital art on a tablet. If you're more comfortable offline, look for paint and sip evenings tailored to older adults, or volunteer-run classes at community centers. These are often low-cost or even free, with materials included. Don't underestimate online resources. There are entire YouTube channels dedicated to seniors learning watercolor or crocheting. Virtual groups exist on Facebook or Zoom, where folks share progress pictures and cheer each other on. Feeling that sense of camaraderie can offset any embarrassment about being new. If you worry about technology, ask a friend or relative to set up your device. The key is to see resource finding as part of the adventure. You're equipping yourself for a creative quest. Even rummaging in your closet for leftover yarn or an old paint set might spark an idea. You deserve a welcoming space to explore. If that means rearranging a corner of your living room into a mini art studio or practice zone, do it. Maybe find a desk with good lighting for knitting or painting. Let yourself say, "This is my creative haven, small yet mine." That physical arrangement helps you feel anchored and enthusiastic every time you walk by, reminding you, yes, I have an ongoing creative journey. Here's where the magic blossoms, establishing a small daily or weekly creative habit. It might be just 15 minutes of doodling, or crocheting a few rows, or working through a dance routine in your living room. Frequency trumps duration. Regular sessions keep your momentum alive and your skills improving. You don't have to produce something show-worthy each time, it's the act of creating that nourishes your mind and spirit. Embracing imperfection is crucial. Expect wobbly lines, clumsy stitches, or missed dance steps. That's normal at any age, especially when we're novices. If your painting ends up looking more like an abstract mess than the serene landscape you envisioned, laugh it off, it's part of the journey. Each mistake is a stepping stone toward growth. In fact, some seniors find they love the imperfect style that emerges, like a unique signature in your art. So when frustration arises, and it will, whisper, "I'm allowed to be a beginner at 70, 80, or 90. I'm learning." This attitude can melt self-criticism and preserve the joy. Over time, you might notice subtle improvements or find a particular style you enjoy, fueling your enthusiasm further. Remember, the greatest reward isn't a flawless end product but the delightful process of creating and discovering yourself anew. Let me introduce Walter, a 73-year-old retired accountant who declared himself utterly non-artistic for decades. One day, his granddaughter brought over a small beginner's acrylic paint set as a playful gift. Walter, half grumbling, decided to give it a try. He started painting simple sunsets, referencing photos he'd taken on walks. At first, it was a bit messy, but something about mixing colors relaxed him. He said he felt a calm concentration he hadn't experienced since childhood. Over a few weeks, Walter's confidence grew. He posted a snapshot of his painting in a local seniors Facebook group, receiving comments like, "This is gorgeous, so full of emotion," or "Wow, you only started painting last month." The encouragement lit a fire in him. Walter ended up enrolling in a low-cost community class every Thursday. Now, nearly a year later, he jokes, "I'm more excited about my next painting than my next meal." Walter's story shows how quickly a spark can catch fire when you step past that initial self-doubt and find a welcoming community. Some might view creativity as a solitary pursuit, just you and a canvas or you and a ball of yarn. But the social dimension can be profound. If you join a knitting circle, you'll share tips, cheer each other on, and swap not just patterns but life experiences. If you dance in a seniors group, you'll find companionship in laughter and shared small triumphs. Finally nailed that step. In choir or jam sessions, the harmony of voices or instruments becomes a tapestry of friendship. Emotionally, these creative acts often lift moods, relieving stress or anxiety. The focus required in artistic tasks can hush overthinking or negative thoughts. Painting or sculpting can be meditative, while singing can unleash joy you forgot you had. Even if you never considered yourself musical, humming along with others might stir nostalgia or closeness. Over time, creative pursuits can help ward off loneliness, providing a sense of belonging that's critical for mental health in older age. Ask yourself, how might your craft, be it crocheting, painting, or dancing, bring you into a shared space, whether physical or virtual, with fellow creators? You might make new friends who understand your journey in ways old acquaintances don't. Or you might rebond with a family member who shares the same artistic interest. That synergy is the sweet spot, merging art with meaningful relationships. Reflect on who you might invite, maybe a neighbor or an old friend, to dabble in creativity alongside you. A shared hobby can be the spark that forges or rekindles deep connections. Finally, consider the possibility of sharing what you create, however humble it might seem. This step often seals the sense of accomplishment and can inspire others, much like Walter posting his first painting online. You don't need to hold a grand exhibition, you can simply gift a small painting to a friend, or let your family admire your new crocheted blanket. If you're into performance arts, like playing a simple tune on the piano, invite your children or grandchildren over for a casual, mini-concert. If you're comfortable digitally, you could post a photo of your craft or short video of your dance on a social media group for seniors. The encouragement you receive might surprise you. Alternatively, local senior centers often hold small showcases, recitals, or craft fairs. Participating even once can be a thrilling experience, though nerve-wracking at first, it's a testament to your bravery and growth. And if you prefer privacy, that's okay too. Sharing can simply be letting a close confidant see your work. The point is to break the notion that creativity must remain hidden or purely self-serving. By letting it breathe out in the world, you reinforce the joy and might spark another senior to try something new. Whisper to yourself, "My creations, however modest, are worth celebrating." That affirmation sets you free from worrying about being good enough. Creativity in later life is about expression, not perfection. And yes, you might even find a new purpose in encouraging others to join you on this creative path. We've traversed 5 steps that helped me and others, like Walter, find untapped artistry in our later years. Start simple and explore various arts. Find basic resources and support. Practice regularly and embrace imperfection. Harness the social and emotional benefits. Showcase and share your work. Each key is a gateway to a world of color, melody, texture, or movement that can brighten your days and lift your spirit. Ask yourself, which step beckons most right now? Perhaps you're ready to rummage in a closet for some leftover yarn, or check the local library's schedule of free art classes. Maybe you'll make that phone call to a friend who also feels a creative itch. Creativity is a lifelong invitation, and it doesn't fade with age. It often grows richer because you bring decades of experience, perspective, and emotion into every stitch, brushstroke, or note. If this resonates, consider picking one small action, like 10 minutes of doodling or a phone call to a local group. You might be amazed how even the simplest first step lights a spark of joy. I'm not a professional artist or instructor, just someone who discovered, at 70, that creativity wasn't a door that closed in youth but one that can open at any time. If you have special mobility or health concerns, adapt the tips gently or consult with a professional for physical activities like dance or certain crafts. But trust me, it's never too late to color your life with art, music, dance, or any expression that excites you. Walter's journey proved an uncreative accountant could paint landscapes worth sharing, and my own experience showed how watercolors can soothe a restless heart. If this video lifted your spirits or gave you courage to try something new, please tap that like button, subscribe, or share it with someone who's searching for a spark in their golden years. Thank you for spending these 15+ minutes with me. May your days ahead be filled with playful experimentation and that sweet sense of wonder we thought belonged only to the young. Because at 70, 80, or beyond, we still have untold creativity waiting to bloom, one brushstroke, stitch, or musical note at a time.